Thank you for tuning in to English 3210 TV. I am Abigail Whittam, and tonight we will experience a wild ride as we update you on the national phenomenon, multimodality. The term multimodality refers to the combination of multiple sensory and communicative modes, such as sight, sound, print, images, videos, music, and so on, that produce meaning in any given message. English and communications officials across the globe have been taking part of this aspect without even realizing it. The Gen Z generation is even calling this the English epidemic. So, where did this term and idea come from? In 1994, the New London Group wrote an article titled A Pedagogy of Multiliteracies Designing Social Futures. It was published in the Harvard Educational Review in 1996. The group stated, the 10 authors of this text are educators who met for a week in September 1994 in New London, New Hampshire, and the United States to discuss the state of literacy pedagogy. Members of the group had either worked together or drawn from each other's work over a number of years. The New London Group proposed 5 modes: linguistic, visual, oral, gestural, and spatial. Linguistic is what you say and how you say it. In today's society, we would refer to this as language. Visuals are what you see, orals are what you hear, gesturals are how you move, such as hand gestures, body language, etc., and spatial is the arrangement of objects. An example of this is anyone who teaches young children observes multimodal literacy regularly, as children shape their stories through talk, pictures, and gestures just as surely as they shape them with words. Giddens and Bauman states, it is evident, therefore, that the work with reading and textual production inside and outside the classroom must consider the changes that take place in the social environment due to the new demands of the postmodern and globalized world. Moita Lopez in 2006 stated, in other words, the researcher must place their work in the world instead of being absorbed by it while not responding to contemporary issues. Forzanzi states, as school and municipal libraries closed and as teachers were forced to access and use digital rather than paper texts, the use of multiple modalities in digital learning environments became the norm. Finally, we can argue that embracing multimodal literacy and thus multiplicity in literacy can support the development of more equitable, engaging, and relevant instruction. This term can get confusing or complicated with the term multimodality that is used in medical settings. Even I had a problem with this when I was researching the topic. I realized that multimodal literacy is the term that was used to describe it in an English setting, while multimodality was used to describe medical settings. Godhe states, language teachers are trained to assess written texts and have experience doing this, but assessing other modalities is not developed to the same extent. Similarly, during their schooling, students have been assessed on their writing, but may not have had the same experience when it comes to the assessment of other features. The complications and contradictions with this term is that teachers are not focusing on the other modes that students use. They are focusing on the writing and the language in these projects. It contradicts the argument that they want students to expand their horizons and branch out utilizing other modes. For example, a final essay in a class is expected to be presented with words in MLA format. If a student turned in solely illustrations or a video presentation, they would probably get an F. I agree with the utilization of multimodality because it is a way to engage the audience or readers effectively. I also agree with the way that this idea has evolved over the years to keep in touch with current day technology. However, I think that multimodality needs to be only used when appropriate, as stated before. If a student knows that they need to turn in a paper, or in my case, if a producer wants me to report on a school shooting, I don't need to get on live television and start singing and making jokes. You need to take the environment of the situation into consideration. At the end of the day, if we, as a media outlet, were still using print newspapers and handwritten letters to spread information, the public would not be as impressed or engaged as they would be watching the news on live television with cool lighting, sounds, and other features. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you learned something this evening. This is Abigail Whittam with English TV.